What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show presented by Sleeper. Today, your Portland Trail Blazers had an interesting game as they lose in Los Angeles to the Clippers 114 to 107. The Blazers lose despite going on a whopping 23 to 2 run in the second quarter, which saw Blake Wesley take over the game defensively, and the Blazers have one of their most impressive stretches of basketball in years. They still find a way to lose, as the big lineup of John Collins and Ivica Zubac punishes the Blazers small ball, and the Blazers cannot buy a bucket. They shoot terribly from the field. They shoot terribly from three, and there's a lot to talk about on this post-game show as far as certain players that need to step up and certain things that need to improve so the Blazers can win a game like this and so that the Blazers can take advantage of a 23 to 2 run. One thing out of the way real quick, there might not be another team that is as reliant upon their defense to spark their offense as the Blazers will be this year, and we saw that in this game during that run, and then when the Blazers could not buy buckets there in the second half. Eric, what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm all right, man. Rough day for both of us sports-wise in terms of 49ers not showing up in a game they needed, and the Blazers
I didn't pay any attention to that game, I'll be honest.
blowing this one as well.
Yeah. Excited to break down a few things here, man. It's a little different going into games like these, like hoping that we can win, like having realistic hope that we can win and being frustrated, losing by 7. I feel like this game last year would have been a win, like a moral victory for the Portland Trail Blazers, but with raised expectations come raised standards. And this was the type of game that, man, it would have been nice for them to build upon what became a 13-point lead in the second quarter and then completely withered away the rest of the game. This game wasn't really surprising by any means. You had Denny Avdia continue to play well. You had Shaden Sharpe continue to massively struggle as he did in the first 2 games of the season. And you had the Blazers' half-court offense continue to be stagnant and bogged down. And this is just going to be a major issue that plagues them the rest of the year. The shooting from 3, yeah, they missed some open looks, but they also had some really tough 3-point shots as well. Felt like they were kind of fighting against the shot clock a little bit too much in this game. And then, as they haven't been able to do in the first 2 games, they have not done a good job of defending stars, as Kawhi Leonard has himself a vintage Kawhi night against the Blazers. The Clippers have always seemed to kind of have the Blazers number the past 3 years or so. This is a Western Conference playoff team, but this is the type of game where you hope that if the Blazers shoot a little bit better, they can win and beat a Western Conference playoff caliber opponent on the road. They weren't able to get it done today. There was some good defensively to take away from this one, but the offense was very, very brutal, especially outside that rim.
Yep, and I mean, I hate to make it this simple, but first game, they shoot poorly from 3, lose, and the offense doesn't look as good. Second game, they shoot well from 3 and win. Third game, they shoot poorly again from 3 and lose. It might simply come down to whether some guys can make a few threes, because they, especially in the second half, it was, I don't know what their breakdown of second half versus first half in terms of 3-point shooting was, but it felt really brutal in the second half, including a lot of open 3-point shots. But yeah, 27% from 3 is not going to get it done.
Oh, absolutely not. 11 for 41. Here's the thing that I have a problem with, Eric. I know that the Clippers protect the rim well, but almost half of the Blazers' shots were from 3. I don't know the exact percentage, probably like 44% of the Blazers' shots were from 3. And when they drove, they were able to get to the free throw line. They shot 19 more free throw attempts. You can look at this thing a couple ways. You know, the Blazers only lose by 7 despite shooting so poorly. That's a good sign. But also, when you shoot 19 more free throws than the opposing team and still find a way to lose by 7, especially when at one point in this game you went on an absolutely massive 23-2 run, that's not really a good sign. And I feel like this game showed some just some of the struggles outside just the shooting. I don't think you can boil it down to just missing shots. I think the Clippers got them playing in the half court in the second half, and this half court offense just simply does not look good right now. And yes, it's a work in progress, but man, it looked like last year's offense. And I'm not expecting Tiago Splitter to come in and overhaul things right away. So, he has a grace period for, I don't know, maybe the entire season. It's a weird situation right now because there's really nobody to blame for what it is right now, except for maybe Chauncey for, the offense that he's ran here. It looks much like the Chauncey offense that we've seen from years past, but with Chauncey gone, what are you going to do? I don't know, but the half-court offense needs to get better. They are stuck standing around too much. They're going one-on-one too much. I mean, how many times do we see Tamani Kamara catch the ball at the three-point line and do like 2 in-and-out dribbles, not knowing where to go, and everybody's standing around, and then he kicks the ball? Right? That sort of stuff is not generating anything. And Tamani Kamara had a brutal offensive night tonight, but there's a lot of tough threes this team took, and maybe they should have attacked a little bit more. You look at the offensive rebounds, 18 offensive rebounds. You're going to get more offensive rebounds when you're missing a lot of shots, but it's like you live at the free throw line, you get 19 more free throw attempts, you get 11 more offensive rebounds, you force them to turn over the ball 24 times, which normally is going to carry your offense. You score 30 points off their turnovers. A lot of these statistics are in the Blazers' favor and where the Blazers want them, but you shoot 27% from three, and they only shot 23 for 51 inside the arc, which is, I don't know the exact percentage, but that's like 45%. 45% inside the arc. Some tough shots around the rim. Shaden Sharpe got blocked 4 times at the rim. He continues to be rough. We'll talk about him. But I'm just not a fan of the half-court offense right now, and I think that's going to be what holds the Blazers back. When they can get out and run and play an early offense and just beat a team down the floor, then you're going to have more nights like they had against Golden State, and they also shot the ball well. That's why they put 139 on the board. But what happens when you're not able to get out and run, and what happens when you're not shooting a super hot three-point ball, which the Blazers more often than not are not going to be shooting hot from three. On paper, they're not a good three-point shooting team. So I hate sitting here after the game like the commentary was doing and saying, man, they just missed three-point shots. Unfortunately, the Blazers are built in a way where they're going to have more nights like tonight where they're not making threes. Can you still find ways to win games, especially when you're forcing 24 turnovers? And that's something for them to try and figure out going forward, because this defense is good enough to win a slugfest, but no matter how good your defense is, if you're shooting these percentages, you're not going to win many games.
Yeah, I mean, they did take some tough threes. I felt like they missed a bunch of open ones as well. And when you have your main players still continuing to struggle from three, that's going to be an issue. I did think, in terms of Tiago, there was a point in this game in the third quarter where he had a lineup with like Blake Wesley, Drew Holiday, Chris Murray, Tamani, and I forget who the fifth one was. It wasn't a big. It was another one of the forwards, but it wasn't Denny. Might have been Jeremy. But I was like, where is the offense going to come in this lineup? Like, none of these guys outside of maybe Drew can create a shot.
Yeah. And
there was at least 3 possessions where it was just Blake Wesley dribbling around trying to make something, and that's just horrible offense at this stage. So like you said, I'm going to give Splitter a pass for a while. He's going to be on the job learning in the fire. But yeah. I felt like that rotation there. I mean, it started before that. We came out flat in the third quarter, so that wasn't what cost us the game. But I felt like that lineup just got let out there too long, and like we couldn't do anything on offense with that lineup in the game.
No, not at all. In Blake Wesley, Chris Murray, I've talked about that combination of guys. You know, at this point, the Blazers rotate, with the injuries, they kind of have to play both those guys, but I would try and stagger them, because Chris Murray, I know he made threes his first couple of games this season, but he was 24% from three last year. I still don't think he's quite respected yet as a three-point shooter, and Blake Wesley certainly not. He misses every single jumper short. I know he made one mid-range today, but almost every single jumper he takes is not even close, like front rim short coming back at him. The lack of shooting is a problem, especially when you're not moving, because there is a lot of possessions where it's like Denny Avdia has the ball. He played at times with Blake Wesley on the court and Chris Murray on the floor, and the paint was just completely packed. And he had a play that really stood out to me in the I believe it was like late second, might have been early third. I think it was late second though. He drove, turned the ball over. It looked like somebody kicked it, and he kind of held his head hanging as the Clippers ran the other way. But there was 3 Clippers around him when he drove, and there wasn't really any legitimate shooting options to kick out to. And there is just not enough spacing on this team in the half-court offense right now, which is why it's just absolutely crucial for them to set off ball screens, move around. Like, if you have Chris Murray setting a back screen for Sharpe and then trying to slip that or curling off that screen and getting to the rim, all of a sudden, you're preoccupying 2 defenders on the weak side of the ball. When Chris Murray's standing in the corner and Shaden Sharpe standing on the wing, both those guys, with how badly Shaden Sharpe is shooting the three-point ball right now, both those defenders can kind of just sit with a foot in the paint and completely clog up everything and help on everything. And then when the ball gets kicked to Shaden Sharpe or Chris Murray, yeah, we can sit here saying, yeah, they're just missing open shots, but we're talking about 2 guys that have never shot the 3 ball, even at a mediocre level in their NBA's careers outside of Shaden Sharpe's rookie year. Shaden Sharpe was 31% last year. Chris Murray was 24% last year. So you have to find a way to occupy more of the defense, especially on the other side of the ball, and they're just not doing a good enough job of that right now, and the result is you end up missing a lot of shots because of it. But I at least would like to try and make things a little bit easier for Denny Avdia, a little bit easier for Jeremy Grant even, because he's been doing a decent job of just putting his head down and trying to get to the rim instead of settling for jumpers. Need a little bit more space. And when it's not with shooting, it's with off-ball screens, it's with action on the other side of the floor, and the Blazers don't really have either of that right now, and that's why their half-court offense looks so freaking bad, is you don't have an all-star level creator. I mean, Denny's doing the best job he can. He's been really good to start this season. But, man, he's driving into multiple defenders every single time he puts the ball on the floor.
Yeah, and that's why we're calling so much, or have called for it so much in the past few years, just movement off ball and stuff, because we don't have the type of spacing to run a half-court offense that they're trying to run. So you either got to tweak that, or you have to get the personnel that can space the floor to run this kind of offense. And like we said, this all happened Thursday, so Splitter has had very little time to implement any changes he wants to change that maybe he got overrode by Chauncey on. But I don't know if he's going to have much time to implement a lot of those changes during the season, or if he's even capable of it. I mean, we don't know how good of a coach he'll be. I'm hopeful that he'll figure things out, but we can't just keep relying on players who cannot consistently hit threes to hit them and to space the floor and to get defenses to play honest, because it's just we're going to have too much inconsistency and we're going to be too reliant on having an abnormally well shooting game to win some of these games. Now, if you just shoot a little better tonight, it could have still been bad and you would have probably won this game. And that's the frustrating part to me, is that this was a very winnable game. It's not one that they gave this incredible effort and the Clippers are just a better team or something like that. They controlled parts of this game and just got really sloppy with the ball, got really sloppy in the half-court offense, got really stagnant, and that kind of stuff just can't happen. And I think back to a clip I saw a few days ago of what's the Spurs' new head coach name? Mitch Johnson. Yeah. So he was talking about it was a timeout, and this is kind of his motto this year, is embracing the mundane. And he kept saying you have to do the boring stuff. Like, you have to keep focus and doing the little things that win you games. And right now the Blazers are playing their butts off, flying around the court and stuff like that. I don't feel like it's an effort problem or anything like that.
Definitely not.
But they're not doing a lot of the little things, whether it's like missing a box out or missing a rotation or something like that. And those things can take time to gel and learn and stuff like that, especially with integrating Drew into the defensive rotations and things like that. But those are things that if they get shored up quickly, this could be a really dangerous team. But if they continue to like get caught in these half court offenses with no movement off ball, and I feel like tonight we got bailed out. The offense would have been even worse if not for Klingon grabbing a bunch of offensive rebounds. So that's the problem. Like, we did a good job on getting offensive rebounds tonight, but that can't be your offense. Just like we've talked about now every game and all offseason, playing fast is a style, but it's not an offensive system. You have to have something you can rely on, because the Clippers in the second half made it so that the Blazers could not run as much. They were getting back in transition, and you have to have an ability to counteract that. And if you don't, it's going to be a long season. You'll beat some teams just by grit and hitting a few more threes than you normally do. But
yeah, especially when they're on the second nights of back-to-backs. Yeah,
right. And like, we'll talk about this later, but tomorrow night, I feel like this kind of a must-win game, even though it is a back-to-back. But like, you have to find a way to not let your half-court offense be the thing that kills you. And that's a really tough task with the current roster, in my opinion. It's not set up to thrive in the half-court, especially missing Scoot or someone who can break down a defense. But I mean, they just have to figure that out, whether it be just simply getting people to set more off-ball picks or something, getting more action to the hoop, getting more downhill drives. They just need to figure something out, because there was way too many times, like I mentioned, the Blake Wesley thing and others, where it was just no one could really figure out what to do. So it was just one person trying to drive on a very good defensive Clippers team.
Yeah, they defend their butts off, man. They got a lot of smart veteran defenders, and the Blazers cannot make it where as long as you get back on defense, you can stop their offense. And right now, that's kind of what it's like. Against Minnesota, what did Minnesota do the final 9 minutes? They made it a half-court, grinded-out game, and they slowed down the pace, and the Blazers could not score. Then they get an old Golden State team on the second night of a back-to-back, and they just kill them with their pace. And they're just playing a super fast pace. And early in that game, the offense looked pretty gross. They were kind of stuck in the half court the first quarter. They were down 27-19 late in the first quarter. And I made a tweet talking about their lack of shooting and being stuck in the half court and how the offense looked ugly. And then the final 3 quarters of that game, they proceeded to run Golden State out of the gym. When they're able to get in transition and get out early, they're having really good offensive possessions, but that's a completely different facet of offense, right? If you can get in transition and hit ahead passes, Drew Holiday had a beautiful hit ahead pass to Denny Avdia in this game, by the way. One of maybe my favorite pass of the year, just a really underrated pass. Like, the transition early offense stuff looks good. But what happens when you can't get that? What happens when teams defend against that? In the book on Portland is going to be just make a good initial defensive effort, get back, don't let them make these hit-ahead passes. They want to run, they want to play fast. Watch out for these drag screens they set. And if you can get past that defensively, defending this Portland team, right now you're going to have a lot of success defensively against them. Now, easier said than done. When you're turning the ball over, it's going to spark a lot of these opportunities for the Blazers, just like we saw during that 23-2 run where how many steals did we have picking the pocket of the guy bringing the ball up the floor, right? But what did the Clippers do? They're a well-coached team. They adjusted. They stopped turning over the ball, bringing it up the floor, right? And oftentimes it felt like in that second half we were a little overextended, and then they just make the right passes and find an open corner shooter for three. Or, especially when we were small, they would find a way to get Zubac the ball down low, and he finished with 21 points and really hurt our small ball lineup at the end of that game. So, on both offense and defense, it's like we play really fast and really aggressive defensively and try and force all these turnovers and try and get out and run. They need more substance beneath that, because that's not always going to happen. That's not always going to happen. When it does happen, it's going to look really good, and I expect the Blazers to be one of the best teams in the league at forcing turnovers, playing aggressive defense, getting out and running. But where's the foundation beneath that? That's what we need to see them build over the first 20 games of the season.
And unfortunately tonight, in the fourth quarter, they started hunting Sharpe on pick and rolls. Whoever was guarding Sharpe was coming up to set the screen, and they were getting Sharpe isolated up top, usually by James Harden. And so the Blazers need to find a way to either counteract that, or they have to have a big in the game. That I don't know if they can have Sharpe in those small ball lineups if they're going to switch everything, because that's going to be an issue. And without a big man down there, because up until the point Klingon left this game, you can just tell the Blazers have the philosophy and the attitude that we can overplay the perimeter, we can be aggressive, we can go for steals, we can pressure a little more than we are comfortable doing, because we have Klingon back there as the safety valve to protect the rim. And he was doing a really good job of that. Now, a couple times, Harden's a Hall of Fame player. He got into spaces where you have to decide whether to guard him or to stay on your guy. And if whatever choice you make is the wrong choice with Harden sometimes. So that's going to happen. But it needs to be a case where I think if they notice a certain player getting hunted, if we're trying to have a switchable small ball lineup, I think you have to remove that player from that lineup. But the problem is, you can't play the lineup like I talked about, where it was like all defense and no offense at all either.
Yeah.
So you have to find kind of a balance there. But so the small ball's been pretty effective so far in 3 games outside of the fourth quarter tonight. But I also feel like the minutes with Klingon have been really effective as well. Now, they didn't talk about it during the game, but apparently he rolled his ankle or something in this one, and that's why he didn't come back into the game. So we'll have to see what his status is moving forward. We're in a lot of trouble if he's not playing, though. Because Young's playing 5 minutes a game, and like I said last post-game show, it's pretty obvious that's their plan, to just get him some minutes early in games, and then they don't feel comfortable playing him much after that. Now, obviously, if there's an injury to Klingon, that's going to change because Rob's still out. So, Duop and Young are all we have. So those guys are going to get some playing time. But yeah, we do need to find a way to not necessarily play Young more, but just if we're going to be so aggressive, we need to have some rim protection in the game if we have someone getting hunted like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Shaden Sharpe's defensive effort. Let's have the Shaden Sharpe conversation, okay? Let's just start off with this. There's some good to talk about from this game. The Shaden Sharpe conversation is going to be a little bit unpleasant. It's going to be a little bit unpleasant because his game right now is a little bit unpleasant. So on the night, let me pull up the box score here. I thought I had it ready. On the night, Shaden Sharpe scores, let's see here, 19 points on 7 for 24 from the field, 1 for 9 from 3. He has 1 assist and 6 turnovers. He also, defensively, had a couple of moments where he seemed to completely give up on defense, much like he did his rookie season, where if somebody did an up and under or a step through, he just stopped defending. There's 2 instances of that. And it's not like he was in foul trouble. He only had 1 foul. This was such a bad game from Sharpe, man. And 7 for 24 doesn't look good. I like the plays that he got blocked at the rim. I like that he was at least trying to challenge guys at the rim. I'd much rather have that than him shooting some tough threes. But he's still shooting some ridiculously tough threes for somebody that does not shoot the 3 ball particularly well. And he doesn't seem to know what to do with the ball once it gets swung to him right now. There's so many instances where he catches the ball, and despite him shooting terribly, guys are still kind of closing out on him. And instead of catching it and then attacking the closeout right away, he catches it, lets the guy close out, pump fakes, and then jab steps. And at that point, the opportunity with the defender running at him is completely gone. The defender's there, the defender's set, and he's not doing anything with the ball. He's not shooting it. Guys aren't going to bite on his pump fakes right now, and he has to realize that. So, and maybe once in a blue moon, a really bad defender might do that, but it's not really happening. So he catches the ball, pump fakes, nobody jumps at it, and then he's stuck there with the defender in front of him. He's not doing a good enough job beating guys off the dribble. Unfortunately,
but sometimes he still shoots in that situation after the defenders come out on him.
Yeah, if a defender's running at him, I want him catching the ball and just being super decisive in attacking them downhill before they get there. Because the defender's momentum is working against them and working in Sharpe's favor. When they're running at him, it takes more time to stop and turn and run the other way if Sharpe's attacking the rim. It's easier to attack somebody that's running out at you, and he's waiting too long. Once he gets the ball, he seems very indecisive when he catches the ball on the wing right now, and he's horribly inefficient. For all the hope we had this preseason about him taking a step as a shooter, that hope is kind of gone. I know it's only 3 games, but my goodness, 1 for 9 from 3. He was already shooting 28% in the first 2 games. It just doesn't look good. Nothing's falling. But Eric, I have an issue with, we talk about flashes of playmaking that he's had in the past. He shoots 24 times and has 1 assist. Now, you're not going to get a lot of assists when the team is shooting this poorly, but he's not really creating for anybody. He's shooting some terrible shots. He's not finishing at the rim like he did last year. The part that worries me is last year he was an absolutely elite rim finisher, and he was still an inefficient player. He had a 55% true shooting percentage. That's below average. He was still a below average efficiency player despite being really, really good shooting from the mid-range and elite finishing at the rim. So if his three-point shot does not improve, it's hard for him to finish at the elite clip at the rim that he did last year. So just how inefficient does he become if he's not taking a step as a shooter and he's not doing a better job getting to his spots? I'm starting to worry a little bit about Shaden Sharpe. I don't know if it's too early in the season, but it looks very similar to last year, and some of the things that the flashes that we saw last year, we haven't really seen this year. A couple of his buckets were he got out and ran. He did a good job getting out and running in certain opportunities and getting basically wide open dunks and layups. Anything outside of that, Eric, he could not buy tonight. The Blazers need him to be a shot generator for the team, for himself, for other guys in the half court. And right now, he might be one of the worst at that. He can get shots up, but yeah, he can get shots up. But other than that, they're not falling. They're not converting. So, are you worried about him right now?
Well, of course, yeah, there's concern. I did hear Splitter say that everything that Sharpe is doing wrong or seemingly struggling with, that he was not he was hitting all these shots in practice and training camp and all that kind of stuff, and he was making the defensive plays in training camp and all that stuff. So, I mean, who knows? It could just be talk, and that could just be good coaching, trying to keep him confident or whatever. But I mean, it's still ultimately 3 games. You just got a new contract. You know, if you think that the contract was unjustified, and you could probably say, see, he didn't deserve the contract. You gave it to him based on potential and all that kind of stuff. But you know, maybe he got paid and now he's never gonna care enough to work hard or whatever. But from everything I've heard, that he's showing it in practice, all these things we're worried about. And so I'm still willing to give him a little bit more time to kind of get out of his own head and try to figure things out. But it is a little weird, just he's shooting and playing like he's a superstar, already established star, and I feel like he needs to grow into that role, not necessarily just play like that, especially from the 3-point line. Until you can start consistently hitting some open ones, I feel like you should maybe cut some of those really tough ones out of your diet.
Yeah. Agree. I think the shot selection, I said this about his shooting last year. Part of the reason he's inefficient from three is the shot selection, but he's not really making open threes right now. So he needs to take a step forward from last season. He's 22, and everybody says he has so much time, but it's like, okay, if he's not taking a step forward from 21 to 22, like, all right, when's it going to happen for him? And some guys it happens in year 5, year 6. Just look at Kobe White, for example. But we're hoping he can be a lot more than Kobe White. A lot more than just somebody that can score, that doesn't pass a whole lot, that doesn't play great defense. I don't think effort's really an issue outside of a couple plays today. I thought his effort the first 3 games of the season was completely fine, especially defensively. I thought he was giving more effort, especially on opening night. He's diving on the floor. He's doing that sort of stuff. But just the inefficiency offensively is really, really brutal right now. He has to find a way to knock down shots at a higher clip. And just the lack of ability to shoot jump shots right now is really, really hurting him. So I don't think he's going to be that guy that can be effectively productive offensively if jumpers aren't falling. I just think, he's not Zion Williamson, right? Like it's rare for a player that's not a big man to be able to be effective and consistently productive offensively without a jump shot. You have to be, like a Men Thompson is maybe the closest thing you have, and he's maybe the one athlete that's a more functional athlete than even Shaden Sharpe is in the league, right? But Men Thompson doesn't shoot 9 threes a game, you know what I mean? So I like the plays where Sharpe drove to the rim. There was a couple of dunk attempts where he obviously got fouled, and this league is refereed horribly, so he wasn't getting those calls. That kind of pissed me off at the refs. But even if he's getting blocked on those attempts, I like him being aggressive because he's going to at least get to the line more and draw fouls more. But yeah, just have to find a way to knock down some jumpers, man. It's worrisome given he was 36% three-point shooter his rookie year, 33% the year after that, and 31% last year. It's trending downwards. And so far to start this year, it's continuing that trend downwards into the 20s. So need to see him knock down more jumpers. It could just be a bad 3-game start to his season, but after how well he was playing in preseason, I really wanted to see him kind of just continue that. Of course, it's preseason, so it's going to be a little bit easier for somebody like Shaden Sharpe. But I was hoping that was him turning a quarter, and then these 3 games might be his worst 3-game stretch offensively in his career, given the volume of shots he's shooting and how inefficient he's been.
Yeah. I really hope that in a few games we're talking about this. Because, to be honest, Anthony was just as bad last year to start the season, if you remember. He got off to a terrible shooting start. A few years ago, Dame had a horrible start to the season shooting-wise. CJ had a couple seasons where he was terrible out of the gates. they all kind of came around a little bit. But Denny was terrible shooting last year too. And then I forget what game it was, but when he kind of started playing well, it was fine. So yeah, I'm still hopeful that he'll figure things out. I do think um, there is a bit of mental gymnastics going on with him. I do think he signed the contract because he didn't want to deal with any of that this season. He wanted to get it out of the way. And then I do feel like he's pressing a little bit to justify a contract or whatever. So hopefully that's just a short-term thing. But I do see what people like you who compare it to, like, this is how we played at most of last season or whatever too. So yeah, I do worry, but I also feel like he's one good shooting game away from getting his confidence back, and we might think this is silly to ever worry about him.
I mean, I don't think, even if he turns around, I don't think it's silly to worry at this point. The problem has been the lack of consistency shooting the three ball, the lack of consistency as a shooter and offensive player. And until he consistently produces for, a month or a month and a half at, an efficient 20 plus point per game level, it's going to be hard not to worry about that inconsistency, right? Like, he needs to have a consistent stretch of knocking down shots to have faith in that continuing, because he has hot stretches. I wouldn't be surprised if the next 5 games he has a hot stretch, and then there will be a couple people in chat that tried to put it to me like, see, you were hating on him. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, he's always shown flashes and been up and down. That is not what a star player does. A star player consistently produces. So we need to see that consistency from him. And he needs to consistently knock down jump shots. And he needs to pick his shots better. In a game like this where he can't buy a bucket, he probably should not be shooting 24 times in 32 minutes. That's insane. Like, that is so many shots. He's shooting a little bit too much. He needs to pick his spots a little bit better. Honestly, I wouldn't hate to see him running a little bit more pick and roll. But yeah, that's what I think about Sharpe's game. We're just gonna do this. Goodbye.
Love when people make stuff up.
I know. I know. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Sharpe. I think he's shooting a little bit too much. 1 assist on 24 shots is not particularly good. 6 turnovers too, man. Like, he's being sloppy too. Like, it's not even just like him shooting tough shots. It's him not taking care of the ball.
Especially without Scoop, man. We have to be better. We have to be better in terms of our secondary playmakers making plays for others. It can't just be miss. And even if I do think he had a couple of good kickouts, but I mean, that's not good enough. When you get 1 assist to 6 turnovers, you can't be talking about a couple of missed shots. Like, it needs to be consistently good. I feel like he has missed a couple open times, including like clinging, rolling to the basket a few times. Denny had a really nice lob to him. Denny hadn't really been lobbing much either, or passing a whole lot to Klingon when he was open, but found him tonight. But yeah, I still have a lot of faith in Sharpe though, and just in general, I know we probably have a lot of new people. We're always going to be real and speak how we feel about the Blazers. We're never going to sugarcoat things. We're never going to pretend to think everything is perfect and nothing can go wrong, and we're not going to find ways to like try and say things are good when something bad happens. Like, we're just always going to speak our mind as fans and what we see. And Sharpe has been brutal these first 3 games. And I was one of the biggest proponent this offseason of him possibly making a near all-star level jump. And I still have faith that that's in there. But, like, he is not playing well this year. So, like, we're not going to come up here and say, like, oh, no, everything's fine. Sharpe's been great. Like, whatever. So, like, don't – if you expect that out of a show, like, we're probably not the best people for you to listen to.
Yeah, it'd be idiotic for us to come up here and say Sharpe has played great tonight when he was 7 for 24 from the field with 6 turnovers. I mean, we'd just be straight up BSing. Like, we'd be lying to you. So, not going to do that. I mean, there's things for him to work on, but I'm not going to lie, man. I'm a little worried about him not being able to, like, beat guys off the dribble consistently enough right now, and the shooting doesn't look like it's taking a step forward 3 games in, so we'll see if he turns it around. It's game 3 of 82. That's why you have 82 games. But this is why I'm, he has a ton of potential. He has star level potential. But this is why I've always had this conversation every time we talk about Sharpe. Having star level potential is one thing, realizing it is another. A ton of guys have had star level potential and they never become stars because they can't consistently produce at that level. And they'll have flashes where they look like a star and they show off their potential when they have a really good game, but that is just a really good game. That's not their average game. For a star, that would be an average game. So Sharpe has to find that level consistently, and that's really hard to do. It's the best league in the world. There's only 24 All-Stars every year for a reason. It's really hard to achieve that level consistently. So it's part of the conversation with Sharpe, because everybody loves talking about upside, but can he consistently achieve that? I think if he takes a step forward this year, I think it's a good sign. If he doesn't, if he's as inefficient as last year and still a 31% three-point shooter, and his playmaking doesn't take much of a jump, it's hard to sit here and have a ton of faith in that turning around, because if it happens in back-to-back years, there's no growth there. So we need to see growth out of him. We need to see him bounce back from these tough first 3 games, especially because the half-court offense is just absolutely desperate for somebody that can create off the dribble, for somebody that can knock down shots. It's Denny Avdia and Drew Holiday, and then Jeremy Grant, too. I'll give him his props. Outside of that, nobody is reliably creating anything, and the way this half-court offense is functioning, it's requiring guys to create out of ISO, to create one-on-one. You don't really have enough guys that are consistently doing that. I mean, you look at Jeremy Grant. He can do that as a scorer. He's not doing that as a passer. 17 points a day, no assists, right? Drew and Denny are really the only ones that can consistently create for themselves and others.
I think Sharpe could get there. It just hasn't been consistent, like you said.
Yeah.
And I see where was it? Sorry, y'all. Sharpe isn't going to be Michael Jordan. I think he's still pretty good, though. Okay.
Real quick, there's a big difference between going 7 for 24 and having a true shooting percentage of 40% and being Michael Jordan. There's a massive area in between those two things where nobody's asking him to be Michael Jordan. So we're just asking him not to go 7 for 24 when he plays 32 minutes and turn over the ball 6 times. Very simple.
And this is the problem. Like, we're not saying, not once did Tori and I ever.
We don't need to dive in on the comment. We don't need to dive in on the comment like this. Yeah, we don't need to dive in on the comment. Nobody's asking him to be Michael Jordan. Anyway, I'm ready to move on from the Sharpe conversation.
Yeah.
Ready to move on from the Sharpe conversation.
Just in general, there is zero chance. I don't want to speak for Tori, but there's zero chance of me ever celebrating someone like Sharpe doing bad or wanting them to do bad so we have something to talk about either. I would want nothing more than to Sharpe to break out and have an awesome season. That never happens. And we've got this for years now, how we're always negative and stuff. But the Blazers have sucked for 4 years, right?
Honestly, I think we need to stop trying to just justify our opinions to the 2% of people that don't listen to us. 98% of people get where we're coming from and watch the show because of it, right? So, like, somebody that says something like that, right? We don't need to justify ourselves to them. Cool. Think that we think he should be MJ. That's fine. You can think whatever you want to think about what we think. I don't care. We don't need to sit here and justify it, in my opinion. Denny Avdia, on the other hand, he did have 5 turnovers, but 23 points. He continues to be the best player on this team. 7 for 16 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, 6 for 7 from the free throw line. I thought there was multiple times where he could have gotten a foul call and didn't get a whistle. I don't understand the way this league is reffed at all. I think it's kind of BS. But 23.7 rebounds, 5 assists. He's averaging 23 points on the season the first 3 games. He's consistently producing, and it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a couple bad turnovers, but outside of that, like we talked about, when no one else is creating shots, at least you're getting some assists too to go with those and not just turning the ball over with no assist. I thought he should have been in that lineup. I do feel like the small ball lineups without Denny are not the greatest, but with Denny have been really good. Outside of maybe the end of this game. But, I mean, he's really our only guy that can consistently break down a defense and get our offense going. And, another solid game from him. Just need some others to step up with him. Can't just be him every game.
Yep. And then Drew Holiday, man, the passing... I've been a little pleasantly surprised by his passing. Like, he can certainly pass the ball, but he took a little bit more of an off-ball role in Boston. He's orchestrating the offense kind of like how he did in Milwaukee, where he had a lot more responsibility and was doing more table setting. So 21 points tonight, 7 assists, 3 for 8 from 3, 7 for 14 from the field, hit a couple tough threes. He's just been consistently solid. Took care of the ball in this one, only 2 turnovers. It's been really fun to watch him in a Blazer uniform on both sides of the ball. I think, this loss is definitely not on him. It's definitely not on Denny. You can probably nitpick something here and there, but I feel pretty comfortable in saying those have been the 2 most impactful players the first 3 games of the season, simply because we talk about how this offense struggles to generate shots in the half court. Drew is as good as anybody at getting into the paint and then finding a teammate. Denny as well, but he gets into the paint a little bit more as a scorer. Drew's done a really good job just playing at a really solid pace and getting guys shots that the offense isn't generating them when things bog down. So been very pleased with his play as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
Drew's he's been really solid. There was one point in this game he took 3 threes in a row, like basically 3 possessions in a row, hit one of them, and I was like, okay, Drew, that like that one where he took like a huge step back and was way off on the other 2. I don't really like that, Drew, but everything else he did in this game I thought was good. And I'm really enjoying him setting the table. And I think when Scoot comes back, having like two good table setters is going to be really nice. I think you might have muted yourself.
Oh, I did. I do want to listen to Tiago Splitter's press conference once it's live, so chat, if it drops, let us know. Because I think this is his first loss. I'm curious to hear what he has to say about the offense. Because I don't think he's going to give... I don't know. I'm hopeful he's not going to give us the same BS answers that Chauncey Billups gave us about the offense. If I just hear we just missed shots 10 times in this press conference, I might die. Or cry. One of the two. Jeremy Grant continues to excel off the bench, 4 for 10 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 17 points, only 2 boards, no assists. I wish he could do other things, but it's much easier to deal with Grant as just a scorer when he's coming off the bench. And he's been, I like that he hasn't really settled for mid-range shots. He settled for one early in this game, like early mid-range contested pull-up, which kind of frustrated me, but he's been primarily at the rim or shooting from 3, which is the shot diet that I like for him.
Yeah, absolutely. 29, 30 minutes, 10 shots. I think he'll take that, right? Getting to the line a bunch. I do like that he's it seems like he is trying to draw fouls, and that is one thing that helped his efficiency. His first 2 years in Portland kind of went away last year with his shooting struggles. He was also not getting to the line as much, or at least it felt that way. And so I do like it when he gets to the line because he's a decent free throw shooter. And I do feel like, when he limits his actual field goal attempts by getting to the line a lot, it does seem like he has a much better flow to his game.
All right, let me thank a couple donations. Shout out to Muvsy Hoops. Oh, it was just one. But thank you, Muvsy, for the 14 Canadian dollar donations. There's a lot of turnovers, dude. Yeah, a lot for the Clippers, 16 for the Blazers. Yeah, thank you for the donation. Anyway, sorry, I'm reading chat. What do you think about the big lineup versus the small lineup for Portland? Portland going small against a lineup with John Collins and Avisha Zubac in it. John Collins is a guy that's swung between the 4 and the 5 throughout his career. He's 6'10", but athletic, like plays bigger vertically. I assume Klingen, we hear the thing with Klingen rolling his ankle. I assume that's why he didn't sub in because that wasn't really going in the Blazers' favor. By the way, you're muted if you were talking. But we've seen this team go small. I'd rather have the small lineups against bench units where maybe you don't have as strong of ball handlers on the other team bringing the ball up the floor, right? Maybe the star's out of the game, and then that's when you can play Blake Wesley, you can play Matisse Thybulle, and just try and force a ton of turnovers from their bench and get out and run, and maybe you don't have as dominant of a big man. And a lot of NBA benches will go smaller too, so I like the matchups better for the Blazers going small against benches than I do a team that's finishing with Zubac and John Collins. And I'll be back in a second. Give me your thoughts on that, though.
Yeah, I don't know what you do without Rob Will still, like if Klingen wasn't able to go back in the game. So at the end, I really don't know what the answer was. I don't think you could put Young in that situation at the end of a close game, with this being his third game in the NBA. Eventually, hopefully we'll get to that point. But yeah, I don't really know what else you do in that situation. I did feel like, so there was a substitution. I forgot how much we were up, but there was like a minute 58 or something left in the second quarter. We'd had a really good quarter, and we're starting to pull away a little bit. And then we subbed Klingen and like 3 people out, including Klingen, and they actually had a 3 that was waved off, but they almost cut it to 2, like in the last 2 minutes, almost erased like a double-digit deficit in 2 minutes. And so I don't know. I feel like it is good at times. I do agree against other teams' benches, especially ones that don't have good backup center. But tonight, I don't think the small ball lineup did very well outside of a couple stretches in the first half.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Blazers don't really have options. Robert Williams, having him healthy off the bench would give them the option of not going small. With Young Hansen being the backup center and he just doesn't look NBA ready yet, the Blazers just kind of have to go to it by necessity. So it's more so, what points of the game do you go small? I think is the key thing for Tiago Splitter to figure out right now until Robert Williams is healthy. When Robert Williams is healthy, this is the type of game that I would have liked to have seen him in. Unfortunately, Robert Williams, even if he does get healthy, who knows if he's going to stay healthy. He probably won't. So I think that's something to worry about. We have 4 centers on this roster, but it kind of feels like we only have 1.5 playable centers this season. Like hopefully we get a half season out of Robert Williams, and then we have Donovan Clingan. I think Clingan, with how many missed shots we had, did a great job crashing the boards in this game. I thought he was phenomenal in that regard. He made a 3 as well. His shot looks good, man. His shot looks good. He was 1 for 2 from 3, above 40%. I wouldn't mind him shooting more threes, especially on a night like tonight with how bad we shot. He's been knocking him down, and he's hit a couple tough ones to start the season.
Well, he made his first one and then missed his second one. It wasn't like a horrible miss. It was like back rim, I think. And then he had the ball like 3 or 4 times a few minutes after that, wide open at the top of the key, and he was hesitating to shoot. You're 1 for 2. I'd say I agree. Let him fly a little bit. Now, if you're 1 for 9 like Sharpe, you probably are going to need to dial it back a little bit. But man, it's looked good enough. I think if you're open, just shoot it. It shouldn't matter if you miss one. Like maybe if you miss a couple in a row, but not one miss shouldn't determine whether you shoot more or not.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, we're going to take your calls here in a little bit. We'll start that up in about 10, 15 minutes or so. That'll be in our Discord, so make sure you join our Discord. There's a link in the description box below.
Yeah.
Yeah, first day of calls. Wish it was after a win. Tamani, offensively today, struggled, did not make a 3. Some of the finishing around the rim stuff is just doesn't look particularly good. He's always kind of struggled with trying to force some really tough shots around the rim. He doesn't use his body enough around the rim as a finisher. He kind of shies away from contact, and that gets him blocked a lot of times. And I mean, he seems decently strong. He loves contact defensively. I wish he loved contact offensively as a finisher and could use his body to finish around the rim. But because he doesn't do that, oftentimes he's having to try and finish at really weird angles to finish around defenders, and he's getting blocked, or he's just not creating the space he needs to finish strong around the rim.
With those long arms, you should be able to like absorb the contract and kind of have a little scoop shot or something. We're using an arm extended. Sharpe had one of those today that he was hitting all last season, where he got kind of by the defender and had a lay in and missed it somehow. But like Tamani could do the same thing. I feel like his skill set is there to be an okay finisher. He just takes some really bad ones, and they usually do not go in.
Yeah. And then Blake Wesley off the bench, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Kind of took over that game in the second quarter. That was a fun little run where he got multiple steals, picking the pocket of Clipper ball handler, bringing the ball up the floor. I like his defense. I like his energy. I don't like his jump shot. There was a mid-range jumper that he shot with like 16 on the shot clock that I hated. I think he needs to realize what he's there for. And even wide open threes, Eric, I don't trust him to knock down wide open threes either.
No.
He needs to not shoot, essentially. The problem is there's not enough shooting on this team to deal with a point guard that can't shoot. Offensively, it's gonna be a brutal offensively when he's in the game. For that reason, I would try to play him in lineups where you have like Denny and Grant and Drew. Well, I mean, he's the backup point guard behind Drew, so you don't really have that option.
Yeah.
You just don't have enough shooters on the floor to like make an optimal lineup with him in the game, unfortunately, which sucks because his defense is really fun and his energy is really fun. For what the Blazers kind of need from him on that end, he is surpassing all expectations. He's been great there. Just the lack of a shot is brutal. If he just tried to shoot further, if he like tricked himself into thinking he was a little further away from the rim, he might be a money shooter because he consistently misses short. He's consistently straight on and short.
That play where he shot a 3, front rimmed it, got it back, and shot a like 16-foot shot in front rimmed in the exact same spot. That was pretty funny. But dude, yeah, it's frustrating because the guy is an irritant, man. He was getting he was making the Clippers uncomfortable, like the Blazers' motto is. He was getting under their skin. He had them flustered in that second quarter, and it was it was really fun. But then, if you get slowed down into the half court, like in the second half, this is the problem with our setup with our roster, like we were talking about. That second half of this game, man, it's almost unplayable, despite how good he is defensively, if we're getting bogged down into the half court offense, because there's just no way around when our shooting and spacing is bad enough without him on the court, putting him on the court and just having other teams completely ignore him. It's just not good, especially for a guard that we need some sort of scoring from.
Yeah, I think this is where I'm really excited for Scoot Henderson to come back, because I think he can do some. I think he can be a similar type of defender, just like super energetic, picking up full court, maybe picking a pocket here or there. I don't think maybe quite to the level of Blake Wesley's energy, simply because Scoot will be required to do more offensively. And Blake Wesley just is kind of a maniac out there. He has crazy energy. But I think Scoot will be able to kind of replace some of that, but then also bring the shooting, also bring the playmaking, also bring some of the half-court shot generation this team needs. I think this team is definitely missing Scoot Henderson right now. They could definitely use a player like Scoot Henderson right now. I don't really want to go deep on this conversation yet, but I almost wonder if, Sharpe continues to struggle like this, if Scoot might be better for the starting lineup. And then staggering with Drew and doing things that way, just to get somebody that hopefully he takes a little bit of a step forward from last year where he shot 35% from three, Scoot, and it would be good just to have another, legitimate shooter in the starting lineup. I'm hopeful that can be Sharpe if he can turn things around, but this team needs a well-rounded offensive player, and funny enough, like, I think this year that will be Scoot. With the shot, with the playmaking, the passing, and then the ball handling, like, he is more well-rounded than Sharpe, and he brings energy and some of the effort that Blake Wesley does as well.
Yeah, I mean, outside of a few plays tonight, I do feel like Sharpe has given the effort on that end, the defensive end too, this season. It's just like tonight, he got hunted a few times and it didn't work out very well.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this team will be better off when Scoot's back. I think if Scoot played in a game like this, I don't want to say they win, but I feel like some of their struggles offensively in the second half, if Scoot's having a good game, we know he can have some bad games, but if Scoot's having a good game, that's the type of thing that could have helped this team a ton tonight.
Yeah, hopefully, because we do need some sort of scoring punch.
Yep.
It's weird that we scored 139 last game.
Well, yeah, playing an early offense, all that good stuff. All right, we'll start the call-ins. We'll start the stage. Let me kind of set things up here while Eric types to who. All right. Yeah, just give me a second. If you guys have any questions for Eric, type them in the chat. We'll take your questions. Also, I'm glad a lot of you liked the new video style that I dropped yesterday. So I want to do those on off days as a way to recap the previous game, preview the next game, fast flowing, play some interview clips, that sort of thing. So won't have one tomorrow with the Blazers playing again tomorrow against the Los Angeles Lakers, but Tuesday, expect another one of those. I'm sure I'll miss some off days, but other than that, we'll have you covered there. Oh, the interview is up. All right, yeah. Let's listen to Tiago Splitter discuss this loss, and then we'll take your calls. And that I can set things up while we listen to it. Yeah,
I started it.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna queue up this interview. We'll listen to this interview, and then we'll take your guys' calls. dead
Only
air.
3 minutes. Only 3 minutes.
How long would Chauncey's have been?
I don't know. I wonder if they're going to delete a bunch of Chauncey's off of there.
Yeah, wouldn't that just look weird, though? Like, I don't know.
This organization does weird things, so.
Coach, very competitive.
All right, here we go with Tiago.
Coach, a very competitive game. What do you think it was about that fourth quarter that the Clippers were able to pull ahead and keep the lead?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very talented team, very experienced. I think we did a great job with the possession game. We got 18 offense rebounds, create 22 turnovers. We wasn't a lack of effort, right? At the end of the day, we still got to make shots. They made more shots than us. And I think that's a little bit the game.
Defensively, how would you describe what you saw from your guys, and especially in that second quarter?
Yeah, I mean, just the intensity. I think Blake Wesley brought some, the pressure in their ball handlers and changed the whole game for us. We started a little bit slow in the game in that regard, and we got better throughout the game, and then I think in the end of the day, they are a very talented team, and they just made more shots than us.
Thiago, the shot making, was a problem tonight. Was a problem at the end of the Minnesota game. Is that how is that something you guys are going to be able to figure out down the line?
Yeah, I mean, just keep giving them confidence. You gotta shoot better, and we will. I think in general, we're shooting, worse than we are capable to do it.
Describe their defense. It seemed like they kind of started slowing down right a little bit there.
I don't think so. I think we kept playing our game. They were slow offensively, moving the ball and trying to get, good shots for their guys. And it's really hard to help from the stars. James Harden got the ball, but they have 4 shooters around him, and then Kawhi Leonard, same thing. They got 4 shooters, so it's really hard to help much. And then Kawhi and James just made shots over our guys. Sometimes that's what's going on, right?
Coach, Shay's had a really tough time with his jumper so far. What are you seeing out of him, and what's kind of your message?
Yeah, I mean, he just gotta, knock it off a little bit, because he had a great summer. I mean, he made a lot of shots in our gym during practices. I know he's capable. This is not him, so I'm not too worried.
Tiago, what's enabled the group to be resilient through just the turn of events this week, but also some pretty tough competition open the season?
Yeah, I mean, I promise you guys, this is what we're going to do every night. We're going to compete. And, they compete tonight for sure.
You look at the schedule coming up, there's no favors coming up, despite everything you've been for, just the path ahead, how do you kind of, navigate?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. You got to go one by one, right? Like, got Lakers tomorrow. We got to fill our tanks here and get ready to play another tough game. The good thing we're not traveling, so staying here and play another game tomorrow.
Alrighty, so he went to the Chauncey Billups School of Interviewing. Thoughts on that presser? I mean, I don't know. At some point, I should probably just give up on hearing anything other than we missed shots, they made shots in a post-game press conference. But especially from a new coach, like. But yeah.
Yeah, I think he's being very careful with what he says right now. With the situation he's been put in. His first interview, he said a lot of things like, I'm just going to initially try and keep things how we've been trying to progress them and all that. And I mean, we did talk about this. The Blazers don't make 3-point shots. They're not going to consistently have a good offense. And if they do, they look awesome like they did last game. So it does come down to making shots. There's a difference between believing you have a team that can do it and wondering if you do have a roster to do it. Now, most coaches aren't going to admit they don't have a roster to do it. And I do feel like he is trying to keep this team. I mean, he's going to put in a very tough situation. He's got to keep the morale of this team going even when they lose games. And it could be very easy with how many guys felt so strongly about Chauncey Billups to kind of just get into like this mopey situation or like, oh, the sky is falling. And I think he does have to worry about kind of not pushing too many buttons right now or being too hard on him. And because they're all trying to deal with it in their own way. So I do think this is the right approach. Now, as we get into the season, that probably should change a little bit. Right now, I think it's fine to just try and keep everything as status quo as possible, just to kind of alleviate some of the tension with the organization right now and the general atmosphere of the Blazers in general.
Yep. Well said. Well said. All right, let's handle this call in, okay? So if you're in our Discord, you will see something in the top left. Let me actually show you guys an example. Let me show you guys an example here. If it'll play, maybe it won't. I guess it won't. Anyway, you'll see something that says in the top left, listen in. And if you go there and you click on listen in, you'll join the stage, and then there's a hand icon at the bottom. You can raise your hand and you can speak. We're going to try and keep it shorter than we normally did last year, so come prepared with a question. You can make a quick statement, your thoughts on the game. Try not to speak for 5 minutes. We're gonna cut you off if you try to speak for 5 minutes. All right, we're gonna do quick call-ins. I'm sure we got hopefully a lot of people looking to call in and discuss their thoughts on the team. It's always interesting to hear different perspectives. So I always look forward to these for that reason. So yeah, if you join our Discord, click listen in top left. If we don't get callers, we'll just talk about whatever. We can take your questions from chat too. How do I... Oh, there we go. Okay.
There's been a bunch of people in here. They usually leave after like 1
You know what's
second.
funny is I did a test run earlier today, and we had 3 people immediately show up out of the blue.
Oh, nice.
Out of the blue. Okay, so first caller, we got Mike. I assume if you're joining, you want to speak, Mike. So there's your invitation to speak. Gonna have to knock off the rest with these call-ins, man. It's been a minute. Mike,
What's up, y'all?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good, man. Tough game. I mean, it is what it is, though. I just wanted to talk about, I guess, Sharpe for a second. Well, really Sharpe and Klingon.
Yep.
But Sharpe first off, because it's like, I just feel like the biggest issue with him right now is his handles. And it's kind of just like, I feel like that's a big reason why you see him taking so many bad shots, like bad 3-pointers and in bad situations, like early in the shot clock and stuff. And I just feel like he doesn't have like that nuance to like know when to drive and when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive and when to pull up. And I'd like to see them use him in pick and rolls a little bit more. But it's also hard when you guys have been pointing out how he's like missing, rollers and stuff like that. So I think it's partially to do with the fact that he's never really had this green light that he has. And he's kind of always had to like look behind his back and make sure like in the games, like if he messes up, he's going to get pulled. And so I feel like now this is his first year to really just put it up. But yeah, it's tough right now.
Yeah, I think you have a good point about the handles. He's just not the shiftiest guy, not the sharpest ball handler. I just feel like if he was knocking down threes, he wouldn't really need to be. It's shoot a three or they run you off the line and he attacks downhill and he's so athletic he doesn't need to like be a super advanced ball handler. So I think it would help him, especially when he's struggling from three, like being able to break down a defender that's not really fully respecting the 3-point shot. But I don't know. He's just, some guys just have that nuance as a ball handler, are just naturally shifty and creative off the dribble, and some guys are a little bit more straightforward. Sharpe is definitely the latter.
I do think
Yeah, and it's like I think just 1 2 3 maybe go-to moves, like that's really all he needs if he can get his shot up. It's just having those go-to moves, like just establishing like a legit crossover to one side, maybe get a tween to the other side, like just a couple moves that you can just put down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Eric, your thoughts?
I do like Shaden in the pick and roll a little better, where he can get around the corner and turn on his guy without having to break him down with those weak handles like you mentioned. So I would like to see that a little more. I do hope his playmaking out of that. I mean, he has shown the ability to pass in those situations when it has been, when he has gotten the bulk of the playmaking opportunities. I think he's still trying to feel out like when he should do that and when Drew should do that. And that's not something necessarily that's good in your fourth season, but I do still think there's a little bit of things he can work out there to improve that. But for me, I just see nothing to get him an easy shot off ball. It's always pass to him and make him break down a defense. And we've talked about our spacing issues. The paint is clogged and he's driving into areas where there's help defenders or someone reaching in on his drives. And when you mention his handles aren't that good right now, you can't continuously just drive into those situations. And until he realizes that, or the Blazers get better spacing to where those guys can't help off as much on the shooters because they're lights out 3-point shooters, whatever, or they have to be respected, it's going to be a struggle. So I feel like the adjustment needs to be just, a little bit more pick and roll to where he does have a little bit of space, and he's got to make shots because even open shots, he's not necessarily making them consistently right now. So part of that's on him to make shots when he gets the opportunities. And part of it is I still feel like the Blazers are doing him such a disservice by not having any off-ball action for him. We see how explosive he can be if you throw him a lob in a fast break opportunity and stuff like that. But once we get into half-court offense, there is no backdoor screens. There's no backdoor cuts. There's no curl screens for the most part outside of one like in preseason. And I think they tried to run one in like the first game, but they ran it very poorly executed wise. And so like, I do feel like they need to get him coming off a screen and get an open shot, maybe just try to get him going at some point. But he's just got to play better too is the bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with the off-ball stuff. I mean, also like running like motion offense, if we had one guy that could come off of screens and like hit threes at like a 37, 36, 38% level, like it would just make it so much easier. But we just don't really have that guy yet. Mm-hmm. So it's tough, but that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I guess too, I just feel like Scoot coming back, like I feel like people are kind of underrating like how good Scoot is getting downhill. Like we saw it in the Knicks game last year against OG, like dealing with contact, and like Drew has played amazing. I'm not trying to take anything away from him at all, but it's like having a guy that can legitimately get downhill and like bother people with his speed and quickness. I feel like that'll open up Sharpe's game too, because I like Sharpe when he can attack closeouts and not just be like a primary ball handler like all game. But that's all I got, guys. Great show as always. I appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate your calling. I absolutely agree on the Scoot thing. I think Sharpe right now is not doing a good enough job attacking closeouts when they are there. I think that's part of it. But like having Scoot will generate hopefully more good off-ball opportunities for Sharpe, whether it's running in transition or these kick-out passes. So I think Drew is like the secondary Drew and Denny and Scoot, like the combination of those three, you don't even have to call any one of them a primary or a secondary. Just having that level of creation in the offense, I think when things bog down and get stagnant, it'll be better than just having two guys, just having Drew and Denny. I feel like Drew should be kind of the third, and Denny should be probably the number one creator on this team, and Scoot can hopefully step in and be the number two, and then Sharpe's more of a scorer. He's not as much of a creator for others, so I think having Scoot back will allow him to more naturally kind of fit into that, where right now it's like they need him to create for himself and for others, and he's struggling. Anyway, we got PDX Hellfire has been invited to speak. Oh, and then we got Dro. Oh, no. All right. We got PDX Hellfire, and then we got Dro. Never know what you're going to get from Dro, man.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I might have to have the mouse ready. PDX Hellfire, you've been invited to speak. If you want to speak, feel free to join. Shout out to AZI with the 75. What's that currency, Eric? Currency
I'm not
check.
looking at the YouTube right now.
Currency check. Because I don't know my currency.
I'm not sure.
I don't know my currencies.
Is that the
Shekels, shout out to Saddest Nation. Shekels, 75 shekels. Thank you for the donation. Says they need to play with Jeremy in the lineup and Sharpe on the bench. That way Sharpe can get back to his normal self too. Well, Jeremy off the bench has been much better than Jeremy as a starter last year. So I like Jeremy in this role. I think Sharpe definitely needs to become a high caliber starter. I think it is a bad thing long term if he can't become that. All right, we didn't get PDX Hellfire in here, and Dro dipped out. So right now we got nobody on the line.
Wow, Dro dipped, and no one wants to talk to us. I guess
And nobody wants to talk to us. People like talking to us a lot more after wins. A little rough tonight. Reeves went crazy tonight with no Luka. Yeah. That's the guy we have to slow down tomorrow, Eric.
Luka's out a week at least. Might miss both. Blazers play them on, I think it's November 3rd or something as well. So he might miss both of those games. LeBron is out for both of those games. We saw Austin Reeves have 51 tonight. Ayton had a big game tonight. He had 22 and 15. We know Ayton's capable of that. So yeah, this is I said earlier it's a must win. It's not a must win, but these are the type of games I feel like you have to win if you're going to be competing for a play-in. We saw them take advantage sometimes of the scheduling thing last year, like teams sitting players, getting really lucky with injuries and star players not playing against them. They really have to do that again this year.
Yeah, while we wait on anybody who wants to call in, let's take a look at the scores. I thought I had the scores from today ready. I guess I don't. In the future, all this stuff will be automatic and coded. I can't wait for the day. But here's our upcoming schedule. The Blazers play the Lakers tomorrow night. That's at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Start time. Might do a call-in night again. We'll see if we win. Might just open up the phone lines a little bit more and then just see if there's anybody there and not advertise it as much. And then Wednesday, they take on the Jazz. That's the first easy game of the night, but the Jazz were competitive their first two games of the season. I mean, they blew out this Clippers team on opening night. And then we got the Nuggets. That's an NBA Cup game Friday, October 31st at home. Would be nice to get a win and actually challenge for that NBA Cup.
It does seem kind of weird that the Cup starts this early.
Yeah, it's a little earlier than normal.
It feels early.
A little earlier than normal for sure.
We have such a tough group, though. Hopefully,
we should be 3-2 going into that game, though. Like, there's a reason I put freaking DeAndre Ayton as the player picture in this graphic instead of Luka or LeBron. They're not going to have Luka or LeBron. All right, you have to slow down Austin Reeves, and you have to be physical with DeAndre Ayton so that he doesn't want to play. and that's how you beat the Lakers. And then you got the Jazz. Like, they should be 3-2 going into that October 31st game against the Nuggets. When was the last time the Blazers were above 500, even if it was early in the year? Were they ever above 500 last year or the year before?
I feel like they were, I don't know about above 500. I know they were like, I feel like they were 500 a couple times last year, but early in the season at least.
Chat, let me know. If any of you know, let me know.
I can go look.
Yeah. Because I feel like we haven't been. I don't think we have been the last 2 years. Because we always lose opening night.
Yeah.
They started off 1-3 last year, yeah, and we lost opening night. And didn't we get close to getting back to 500? And then the last time being above 500 at any point was the 2022-2023 season, according to Siphon and Chat. So the last 2 seasons, we have
there were 6 and 8 early in the season, and then lost. They had like a 6-game losing streak shortly after that, and never really got close.
Yeah. I mean, here's your opportunity. Lakers without Luka or LeBron, and then the Jazz. I mean, it's the Jazz. So, should be able to win both these games. I feel like, it's only 5 games to start the season, but we're kind of going to have a feeling for how this season's going to go, especially with a tough schedule to start November as well. Like, we're going to have a feeling for how the season's going to go after 5 games. If we lose both these games, we'll probably split. We'll probably split and be 2-3. But yeah, it would be nice to get off on a roll.
So 2 years ago we were 3-3 after 6 games, and then we lost 8 in a row, and we're 3-11.
So we weren't above 500. I want to be above 5. I want more wins than losses at just any point this season. Please just have more wins than losses. All right, could have done it today if they didn't fall
it was
apart.
headed there.
Yeah,
in that second quarter.
And by the way, that Halloween night, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna dress up as for the post-game show. We're running out of time here. You know who we have trying to call in, Eric? It's our guy Muvsy.
Hello there, lads. How are we doing tonight?
Hey Muvsy, how's it going, man? So
he just starts talking
great.
before even getting
1:30
introduced, man.
Muvsy loves to talk. All right, Muvsy loves
Sorry,
to.
guys, sorry.
He loves to talk. We can't even introduce him. He just
What an
wants
amateur.
I know. Yeah, this dude's definitely not a YouTuber with 25K subs or anything. Anyway, just had to gas you up real quick. What's going on, Mosey? How you doing?
Oh, great day. Just came back from the gym. Great Sunday. Great Sunday.
Yeah, my question is, where is our intro song?
It'll be good by tonight.
By tonight. Okay, so when we beat the Lakers tomorrow, we can use it tomorrow.
And yes, and then we could all laugh at Aiden, all right?
Yes, and then
we could all laugh at him when he fumbles the ball.
That'd be beautiful. Anyway, do you have a question, a statement?
Yeah, I do have a question, and this is for Eric, okay?
All right.
What's up?
Okay, so if the Blazers are top 5 seed, okay, and then he's playing the way that he's been playing, right, and how he played after the All-Star break, do you think that he's an All-Star?
If that hypothetical situation happens, yes, I do. Yeah.
I think the way I want to phrase this question is like, how high of a seed would the Blazers need to be if Denny's, putting up the numbers he's putting up now in like March last year? How high of a seed would the Blazers need to be for him to be an All-Star, Eric, in the West, knowing how loaded the West is?
I think if the Blazers are a top 5 seed, yeah, I think, because we're talking January-ish I forget that exact date when the coaches and when everything has to be decided or whatever, but I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but if the Blazers are up there, because people are saying you don't get a guaranteed unless you're like a top 2 or whatever. But I do feel like in situations where there's teams like the Blazers who go from being a lottery team to a top seed or a playoff team, I do feel like those teams usually get some sort of at least heavy voting for an all-star. It's not guaranteed or anything, but I do feel like if we were playing that well and Denny is averaging, over 20 points per game, he's a good rebounder, gets assists as well, so his numbers are going to look good. I do feel like he would get some consideration for it. So, but I mean, that's asking a lot for the Blazers to be a top 5 seed in the West this year, because the West is pretty tough.
If they were like 8th or 9th, I feel like he would struggle to get in, because right now he's averaging 23, 7, and 4. In March last year, it was like 23, 10, and 5 or something like that. So like, I'm hopeful that this is who he is now, is like 23 point per game scorer on good efficiency, or maybe not, above average efficiency at least, with like 4 assists a game, 7 boards. That's an all-star on a good team. If the Blazers like the 8th seed or the 9th seed, is he an all-star? Probably not. So I think like that's the question is, can he maintain this level of play? It's a good sign early in the season that he has continued what he did after the All-Star break last year in 20 games. 3 more games added onto that sample. The longer he does this, the more confident I am in him being a star caliber guy. I think the question then becomes, obviously, is how good are the Blazers? If they're the 12th seed, he's obviously not going to make the All-Star game unless he's putting up 30 a game or 28 a game. So,
how is the voting changing at all? Because isn't it going to USA versus the world or something?
Maybe that works in his favor. I don't know. Yeah, it is. It's going to USA versus the world. So I don't know how that changes the voting. Like,
but I still feel like it's East and West voting, and I don't know. Was there going to be like?
I think it's more biased than towards international players.
Yeah, I wonder. Like, if you did 12 world players, like you could only have 12 USA All-Stars, right? Oh, Eric got collab cam. Let me bring
What's new?
Yeah, let me bring Eric back. So I don't know exactly how the voting is going to work, but
well,
it's only 8 players. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really understand how all that's going to work. So
I think it's like there's going to be 4 teams again, but like 2 of them are USA, 1 of them is international only or something, and then
confusing.
There's still the Rising Stars one or whatever, but
yeah, I don't know. All I care about the All-Star game is just our guys getting their accolades. That's about it. So, like Dame every year. Well, Dame got snubbed a couple years, but Dame every year is kind of like, okay, he's going to be an all-star. But Denny for his first time would be cool, right? Anybody on this Blazer team becoming an all-star this season would be cool, just because it's a first-time guy. It's always something special when you have a player making their first all-star game. So,
Tori.
Yeah,
Sorry to cut you off. Like one thing with the Blazers, even like watching some of the games now, is like I'm not worried about them like winning the games right now, because like there's a lot of young guys on this team. And there's been multiple times where just leads, like you guys had multiple leads like in these these first couple of games, right? But it just slips away with like turnovers and stuff, just because like inexperience and stuff. So I think that like you guys will be fine like after like mid season, like
well, I think
everything will be fine.
I think it's experience, but also the way their offense is. Like when things slow down, they struggle, and things slow down.
It's like the Raptors.
Yeah, things slow down in close games against good defenses in crunch time. And we've seen that the second half of this game, the Blazers offense really struggled. The final 9 minutes of the Timberwolves game, the Blazers had 2 field goals. So this has always been a theme under Chauncey in the past, with a half-court offense that didn't have enough action, didn't have enough movement. And we're seeing kind of the same half-court offense. So I think, experience is helpful with a young team, but they have Drew, and it's Sharpe's 4th year, and it's Denny's 5th year, 6th year. Denny's been in the league for a minute. Grant's been in the league for a while. So I think it's more so just the design of everything, and that's my biggest worry this season is their half-court offense. I think if they could run an efficient half-court offense, I think they would probably be the 7th or 8th seed in the West. I think that's going to be the main thing that holds them back, just like Collab Cam consistently holds Eric back.
Do you know what I agree on? Like with the half court offense, even with the Raptors, like I think right now we won't struggle as much with like half court offense because we like set a lot of off balls for like Ingram to wrap around, and then he just does his ISO and like the mid range and stuff. And I think the one thing that the Blazers do so well is, as much as hate as like Jeremy Grant gets, like he's the one guy that like I like when he's like dribbling in like the mid range area and like just getting a bucket, because he doesn't get much like dribble or like ISO time, but when he does, it's not that bad, if you know what I mean.
This year it's not bad. Last year was terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's because he's coming off the bench and he seems like he has like a chip on his shoulder. But like if he's starting again, then I don't know, that may change something.
Well, he's just being more decisive. He's just being more decisive.
Yeah.
He's playing in the flow a little bit better. I am happy with that.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions, is like, all right, they're trying to kind of flow a little bit more at least, you know, and we see it struggle in the half court. So if the offense is super stagnant and he's wasting a lot of dribbles trying to generate a shot and nobody's moving, I kind of don't blame him. When the offense is flowing, I think he's doing a pretty good job of playing within the flow, and I like that he's just being decisive, shooting the open three, and if guys are running out on him, he's driving downhill and driving strong. Like, he had a really hard fall in this game because he drove the ball strong. Like, that's the way he needs to play. The defense is always overrated. I thought there was multiple times with him guarding Kawhi, with him guarding Harden, where he got completely picked off a screen. One play gave Kawhi a wide open three. Another play, Harden was able to basically walk him to the rim because he was stuck behind the play after getting screened. So I still don't like him guarding primary ball handlers just because he can't get through on ball screens. It always puts the defense at a disadvantage whenever he's guarding somebody that handles the ball in pick and roll. So, you know, like John Collins is the type of player he should be guarding. Like, that's like the perfect matchup, you know, a 3-4 that doesn't really handle the ball in a pick and roll. So it seems like Thiago's still, I think they're kind of rotating guys as the primary defender on stars. Like, we've seen some Thibault against Curry. We've seen some Grant, Tamani, Drew, which I guess kind of makes sense in theory to keep defensive players fresh. You know, it's tough to chase Steph Curry around for an entire game. That wears you out. But I still am not a fan of Grant on those guys.
So your offense is like predicated off of defense then, because without defense, there's nothing. Like, then you're going to half court. Like, that's the same problem the Raptors have.
Yeah.
Like that's why we can't be a playoff team unless we have that one guy that could like help us out once the game slows down. And like I think
Ingram, baby, Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, Ingram, but still, like he's not.
I'm kidding. He's not. He should not be your number one. He should not be.
He needs to stay healthy. Yeah. But if like I'm just praying that for you guys, Denny turns into that player where you're like, yo, bro, like go sit in the corner and I'll get you the bucket. Like I don't know, like he'll get, like he is there right now, but like after like mid-season, if he could do this and get you guys in the playoffs and like turn into that like mid-range sniper, like that's what gets you going, man. Because Scoot can come back, but like how much is that gonna, like it'll change a lot when it comes to like playmaking and stuff, because he's like kind of good at that. Like he's a player that relies a lot on like transition opportunities and like playing fast, playing quick, playing in like feeding off the defense. So, like you guys just need Denny to go insane, like insane.
He has been
super
insane.
He's
been pretty insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for calling in. I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to using this song because now people know what your voice sounds like, so they're not going to be expecting the intro song. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
have you heard part of it?
Have I? Oh, I've heard the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I heard the whole thing a month ago. We're just putting highlights and stuff to it because there's a lot of.
I've just been very busy.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of Blazer related bars in there. All right, so we're.
Kind of a lot of Blazers up right.
Yeah. So
I had to cook up something.
Yeah,
for
so
the chat,
we're putting the highlights on it. All right, we're trying to have fun with an intro.
Yes.
But anyway, thanks
Where's
for calling
my
in.
feature?
All right, guys. Yeah, have a great night, guys. It was your feature.
Eric charges $200 per feature. Good luck.
I don't charge
hop on
anything.
the song, bro. Hop on the song.
I will.
All
You're gonna charge me.
All right.
Hop on. All right, guys.
All right,
Later,
all
man.
right, see ya.
Yeah.
Anyway, So yeah, hopefully we win tomorrow, and hopefully I'll use it tomorrow. I'm still building out the production. I literally spent 3 hours today on graphics for this postgame show. A lot of them is going through the NBA, which I want to go through right now. If anybody else wants to call in, we'll take like one more call if anybody wants to. But otherwise, let's go around the NBA. All right. So wait, let me set this to manual. I forgot to do that. Manual. All right. So here are the scores from today. I'll talk about the Lakers game. I don't have a graphic for that. But first, we'll start off. Victor Wembanyama, my MVP pick this year. I felt like I was going out a little bit on a limb. Everybody was picking Jokic. There was a Giannis pick. I picked Wemby. I'm always super high on the Spurs every year that they've had him. It seems like this is the year they finally actually take that step, and Wemby takes that step. 31 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists. I don't know how many blocks he got in this game, but he has been absolutely phenomenal. And then the rookie Dylan Harper, 20 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds in 29 minutes. He looked great. As the Spurs get the win. This draft class has looked phenomenal, Eric.
This graphic has too much gray in it.
I know. It was the gray and black teams, man. It was the gray and black teams playing each other today.
But yeah, Harper looks good. The Spurs are going to have an issue very soon on what you do with Castle, Harper, and Fox. Yeah. Obviously, Harper's the guy moving forward, you would think. But, yeah. I guess good problem to have.
The thing is they didn't give up much to get Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, ideally, that's the guy you'd trade, but
they just signed an extension, though, I think.
They just signed him to an extension, and it's not like he had much value when you traded for him, so I don't really know. I keep forgetting that De'Aaron Fox is on this team, just because he's been hurt so much. Yeah. But yeah, so Harper's going to be, I think, better than Fox long term. I think Harper's going to be a top 20 player in the league. And he already looks good. So he was phenomenal tonight. And then look at Cam Thomas. Is that not the most Cam Thomas stat line of all time? 40 points in 32 minutes, zero assists.
Yes, very, very Cam Thomas-y.
Then you have the Pistons beat the Celtics. The Celtics fall to 0-3 on the season. The Celtics led by 41 from Jaylen Brown in the loss. I mean, they are not playing Anthony Simons as much as I thought they would. 23 minutes, 12 points off the bench, 1 rebound, no assist for Ant. What do you think, like, do you think he's going to get more of an opportunity there, or do you think this is going to be his role all season?
Well, I mean, the way the team's set up this year, they're guard heavy, and they don't have a lot of bigs and a lot of front court depth. So it's either play super small and really have a tough time with teams like Detroit that has Cade and Duran and Thompson and Tobias and, Isaiah Stewart and all that kind of stuff. Ron Holland, they have so many like bigger players. So it's tough. I think it's just a case that they haven't been able to play small much, and so they trust Pritchard and White because those guys have been there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's like an indictment on anyone else on that roster. It's just that roster is so. It's just I know they thought they would be okay and decent this year. There was a lot of good positive buzz out of training camp from them. But their roster isn't set up to win this year. No. And they do need to find some long-term answers at the power forward and center positions. And I don't know what they're going to do until then, but there's going to be a lot of games like this where it's just not good to play a bunch of small guards against a team like Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, they're starting Hugo Gonzalez, and he does basically nothing in 18 minutes. It's funny because they always draft these, like, big guard-type guys are at, like, wings, Baylor Shireman. Jordan Walsh has been there for a minute. Hugo's getting more of an opportunity immediately, but didn't really do much with it today. I like Hugo long-term, but he's not really ready to help you win. When you're starting Hugo Gonzalez and Neemias Queta, you're probably not going to be the most competitive team. as the Pistons get the win there. The Cavs beat the Bucks 118-113, first loss of the year for the Bucks. Giannis has had a terrific season so far, 40 points, 14 boards, 9 assists in this one. But the Cavs get the job done, 24 from Donovan Mitchell, 23, 8 boards, 6 assists from Evan Mobley. Lonzo Ball back playing, had a big contribution off the bench today for them, 11, 6, and 5. It's just interesting looking at the Bucks without Dame and some of the role players. Like AJ Green had 20 today. Ryan Rollins had 14 today. Some guys are going to have to consistently step up. I think Ryan Rollins is a sneaky guy for them this season.
Yeah, I think they had a couple of guards out of this one.
Yeah, Cole Anthony had a big opening night game. I don't think he played today.
He didn't play, and I think Kim Porter Jr. was out too. So
yeah, I do think Ryan Rollins is a solid bench guard to have, though. Mm-hmm. I've always kind of liked his game. The Heat moved to 2-1 as they beat the Knicks 115-107 to give the Knicks their first loss of the year. Norman Powell going off in Miami, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. The Knicks got 37 from Jalen Brunson, still take the loss. The Charlotte Hornets are 2-1. They poured 139 points on the Wizards. They were following our lead, scoring 139, getting 38, 13, and 13, triple-double from LaMelo Ball. And then Con Knipple has looked really good to start the season. Like I said, this draft class, Eric, you've already had numerous guys, including my guy Cedric Coward, who last night had 27 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, and was 6 for 6 from 3. I need to vent about that for like 30 seconds, Eric. I was so confident in him being good at the NBA level, despite him like barely playing any D1 ball. Like, that was just such an obvious, this dude's 6'6" with like a 7'2" wingspan, really smart, and shows these playmaking flashes. Shot is textbook perfect, like knockdown 3-point shooter, crafty. Those archetypes translate pretty dang well to the league. And I was super confident in him because of it. And I know it's only been 3 games, but dude, he has been phenomenal in his first 3 games. Like, I don't know what he's averaging, but 27 points last night, 6 for 6 from 3. When we're out here shooting 27% from 3, wouldn't it be nice to have somebody that could go 6 for 6 from 3 in a game, other than Jabari Walker, who we got rid of? Like, anyway, that's my Cedric Coward rant.
Nice.
For the season, 19 points, 70% from the field. 3. We love small sample sizes, but Knipples look good as well, 20 points today. Zion James off the bench, another one of my guys, 13 points in 20 minutes.
Keyshawn George kind of came back to earth in this one, but Trey Johnson, another rookie, 18 points.
Yep, 18 points. His scoring is translated immediately to the NBA level, so it's only a matter of time before he takes CJ McCollum's guard spot. Like, Trey Johnson will probably average 20 a game next year.
Yeah.
Like, that team needs somebody that can score the ball like that, and he looks the part. But the Hornets get the win, move to 2-1 on the season. Then you got the Timberwolves beating the Pacers 114-110. Anthony Edwards only played 3 minutes in this game. I don't see what he went down with injury-wise.
Yeah, I know he got hurt, but I don't remember what it was. I can look it up.
Yeah, but they still get the win. 31 from Julius Randle, 17 from DiVincenzo, 16 off the bench from Naz Reid. The Pacers fall to 0-3. Just like the Celtics, they're in the same boat. They have a star out with an Achilles tear, and they have not won a game. Pascal Siakam, 33, 10, and 8. But without Nembhard especially, that team just has absolutely no ball handling. Like, who's your point guard in that lineup? Ben Shepherd?
Hamstring tightness.
Hamstring stiffness in chat. Yeah. Hopefully Anthony Edwards is all right. You know, I'm a little bit more of an Anthony Edwards fan since he says he loves the Blazers. He loves our team, which gave me a good video to it's not even clickbait. He said it. So, you know, give me a good video topic yesterday. And then you got the Mavs, another team scoring 139 points. The Mavs get their first win of the season against Muvsy's Toronto Raptors, led by 25, 10, and 3 from Anthony Davis. And then Cooper Flagg, 22 points. The best game of his young rookie career, had a poster dunk in transition over Mamu Kalashvili.
Still playing with point guard, though.
Yeah. D'Lo off the bench in 29 minutes, though, 24 points, 6 assists for D'Angelo Russell. So that lineup is huge from the Mavs. That lineup is wild. You're seeing a lot of teams go with these really, like, these jumbo lineups. You see a lot of small ball now and a lot of jumbo lineups as well. Mixing and matching like that is very interesting. Scotty Barnes, 33 points, 11 boards. A good game for him as the Raptors lose. And then this final game, other than ours, that we have to talk about, Eric. The Lakers beat the Kings 127-120 to move to 2-1 on the season. They're without Luka tonight. They're without LeBron for the first month of the season. Austin Reeves scored 51 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists on 12 for 22 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3, and 21 for 22 from the free throw line. I'll just say this real quick. If Austin Reeves was playing for the Blazers, there is no way in hell he'd ever have a game with 22 free throw attempts, even if he played it exactly like he played tonight, all right? But that dude probably would be I feel like he'd be a star if he was a top 2 option on another team. Without LeBron, without LeBron last year, he put up insane stats. When they're missing guys, he steps up and carries the load as the number 1 option. He's looked terrific. 51 points for him. Another, not to do this again, but another one of my guys, Eric, another one of my guys in his draft, plus 22 for him. They win by 7. He played 39 minutes. So in the 9 minutes he wasn't on the floor, the Lakers got outscored by 15 points. And with him on the floor, they outscored the Kings by 22. So he was phenomenal for him. That's the guy they have to slow down tomorrow. We've seen Anthony Edwards and Steph Curry go off against this Blazers defense. I know Austin Reeves is not as big of a name, but he might be just as dangerous right now coming off a 51-point game. He's certainly talented and capable of putting 40 points on the board efficiently. So do not sleep on him. Do not sleep on him going into tomorrow's game if you're the Blazers. That's the guy Tumani should be guarding to start the game, forcing him to expend energy, bringing the ball up the floor. Because outside of that, Rui can score, and he was 7 for 10 today. He had 18 points. But you look at their starting lineup, Gabe Vincent, 0 for 4. Marcus Smart, not an efficient scorer. They're bringing Jared Vanderbilt off the bench. They played Chris Mannion 3 minutes today. Dalton Connect hasn't really panned out so far. Another one of my guys, but he hasn't panned out. Jake LaRavia was 3 for 10 today. You don't really have a ton of scores you have to worry about. And the Blazers, I think, have done a decent job of not letting role players go off against them. Tomorrow, you got to figure out a way to slow down Austin Reeves.
Yep, you'll probably get through screens by Ayton. So if they're doing a lot of pick and roll, just fight through them, right? But yeah, Ayton's going to also be interesting to watch tomorrow. Remember when he'd always sit out against the Suns? Is he going to get up to play us, or is he going to be trying to avoid us, or what?
I think he sat out against the Suns because Devin Booker would bully him.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think he's worried about that with anybody on our team.
True.
So
we are kind of in trouble if Ayton or Klingon doesn't play, though.
Yeah, probably. So far, Tumani has not been a starter. Comment in chat. What's up, Kirk? Good to have you back in chat, but that is incorrect. He's the best defender on this team. He's not in here to score 20 a game. We cannot let Ayton cash in on a revenge game. You know how pissed I'm going to be when he finishes strong around the rim and then sprints back on defense? That's just going to tick me off, man. That's going to be annoying.
He said tonight that his teammates try to get him angry before games.
What do they say? Ayton, you're not a max contract player anymore. Is that how you piss him off? Ayton, you suck at 2K. And you suck at driving on icy roads. Is that how you piss him off? I don't know. But
Probably.
anyway. So yeah, next game, Blazers-Lakers tomorrow night. Then there's a game Wednesday, game Friday. We'll start picks against the spread probably Thursday this upcoming week is the plan. I still have to build there and figure out who's participating and all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll keep building out these post game shows. And Tuesday, Thursday, expect videos. Tuesday I'll recap this game and the Lakers game. Hopefully we're focusing more on a win after the Lakers, and then Thursday I'll do a quick little video recap of this Jazz game and any quotes and themes that I want to talk about.
And then they have Saturday and Sunday off, so a nice 2-day break to kind of reset a little bit, maybe take a breath, because it's like going to be nonstop from the Chauncey thing. There's not going to be many times to just like rest and just be like, okay, let's take a step back and kind of refocus here.
Yeah, after that 2-day layoff, they have a Monday game against the Lakers again, and then a Wednesday game against OKC. Both those games at home. Then they have another 2 days off there, and then they start a 5-game road trip, playing against Miami, Orlando, New Orleans, Houston, and Dallas. So it's not an easy schedule, man. But the Blazers have to find ways to win close games. They have to find ways to get more out of their half-court offense. Sure, they missed some shots tonight, but there's going to be nights where you're not shooting the 3-ball great. They got a ton of offensive rebounds off those misses. They got 34 free throw attempts. They forced 24 turnovers. Like, that's the type of recipe where that should be a game that you can win despite having a cold shooting night. But I think they maybe settled slightly too much. Clippers did a good job protecting the rim. You got to find a way to generate more action in the half court. There's just simply not enough, and it's going to plague this team whenever they're not having a hot shooting night from 3. And Eric is not having a hot shooting night with the collab cam, man. Just not having a hot shooting night with the collab cam at all. Anyway, welcome back. Before we get out of here, shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the stream. Use promo code Uprise. You'll get a free $20 deposit. Now, why wouldn't you take advantage of that? Free $20 entry, not $20 deposit. Free $20 entry, no deposit required. So you don't even have to put any of your own money in. You'll get free $20 on Sleeper. You can make picks, make a parlay, see if you win. You can do it on the Blazer game tomorrow. I'm going to have one for the Blazer game tomorrow. I'll probably tweet it out, and then we'll go over it on the post-game show. So make sure you tune in for that. Make sure you use that promo code Uprise. Not only do you get a free $20 entry, but you also get a 100% match up to a $100 deposit. So as we build out these post-game shows, we're going to do more there with them, just kind of slowly building up to that point. Anything else, Eric?
No, just kind of a disappointing loss tonight, especially with I was pretty hyped after the second quarter, just seeing how they were playing.
Yeah.
And it just came out completely flat in the second half. Couldn't hit a shot for long periods, and it's not going to get it done. But, chance to bounce back tomorrow. And then you got Utah on Wednesday. Like you mentioned earlier, should be 2 games that are winnable and that you should win if you want to consider yourself a good team. So, you win the next 2, and I think we're feeling pretty good after 5 games. So hopefully that's what happens. Hopefully Klingon's okay and can play tomorrow. And hopefully they don't get caught too much in the half court and with the stagnant offense like they did in the second half of this game.
Yep. Hopefully Klingon's good to roll tomorrow. I need to see Klingon dominating.
Yeah.
He needs to prove a point. All right. If he's hampered by an ankle injury and Ayton is going try hard for once because he's trying to prove a point, I'm gonna be annoyed, man. I need a big Klingon game tomorrow. So we'll have you covered with that post-game show. Hopefully we're talking about a win. It's always fun to recap a win. And And hopefully we can win some games this year, man. Hopefully we can win some games. I appreciate the support. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Turn on the bell button. Hit the like button. I didn't ask for likes this stream. The like number is always much lower when I don't ask or do a poll. So you can help us out and hit that like button. And thank you to Muvsy for donating and calling in. Thank you to Mike for calling in. Appreciate that. And yeah, we're rolling, man. The season's underway. Blazers 1 and 2. Second night of a back-to-back tomorrow against the Lakers. We are out of here. We will catch you again tomorrow night. Have a good rest of your Sunday evening, Sunday night. And until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!